the biggest broadcasting station in the entire world, Old Faithful Geyser in Yellowstone National Park. And for the first time in the history of motion pictures, we're taking a sound recording outfit along. You'll hear Old Faithful speak, and all the roar and racket of Mother Nature broadcasting to you from 7,000 feet above sea level and from 4,000 feet below the surface of the ground. But first, before turning on the sound, like any good broadcasting station, Mother Nature has a few sustaining programs. Hot springs, volcanic hillsides, cataracts and canyons. Let's see and hear them all. And then we'll work our way back again to this high spot of the program, Old Faithful herself with sound. First stop, the Yellowstone River, cutting through solid volcanic rock, a gorge 1,500 feet deep, 2,000 feet from rim to rim. And awaiting you now at the top of this moving panorama is an eyeful and an earful of the famous Tower Falls. To excuse this shot, folks. I'm supposed to be telling you now all about those interesting rock formations. Instead, I'm noticing that pony. But let's go on with the business. Sustaining program number 2, Morning Glory Pool. A flower-shaped hot spring as nice and polite as any in the world. And that's important. You see, the only way you can tell the difference between a hot spring like this and an erupting geyser like this is to wait around and see which one erupts. When they mapped the park many years ago, they'd come to a place like this, stand around for a while, and as soon as they got scalded with boiling water, they wrote the word geyser in the book. Here, for example, is a hot spring trying to be both. That bubbling is caused by hot gases from miles underground finding their way to the top. Nearby is a little would-be geyser just learning to geyse. Are you listening? Another one of Yellowstone's sustaining programs, the world-famous Norris Basin, a whole valley full of active geysers constantly at work so Mother Nature can let off some steam. Let's tune in on the orchestra and listen to the real, honest-to-goodness underworld. Another novelty on the program, and about as deliberate a piece of showing off as Mother Nature ever stooped to perform. Hot water and ice water side by side. Temperature in the spring, 197 degrees. The river next to it, flowing from melting glaciers, is almost down to freezing. But let's let old Yellowstone herself do the talking for a while. Take it away, Mother Nature. You're seeing and hearing thundering mountains. Make you feel like looking around for the nearest exit? Boy, if this place should ever blow. But don't worry, it hasn't blown for more than 46,000 years. We're approaching Mammoth Hot Spring now, the one place in the park where a peculiar chemical content of the water creates that world-puzzling phenomenon, hot ice. A funny thing about hot ice, it looks like ice, it acts like ice, and it is ice, unless you put it in a highball. A chemist will tell you the water is highly charged with lime. Centuries have accumulated a thick coating. You could almost skate on it. And here's what happens when the stuff spills over the edge. Slowly cascading down this hill, it leaps a cliff and leaves in its wake Jupiter Terrace, a mile long and hundreds of feet high. A birthday cake with an icing of crystal that took 1,000,000 years to build. And now, honestly, folks, this is one of the most beautiful spots in the park, but you'll never believe it. It's called the Paint Pots, and the colors of violet, amber, and rose, with all the shades of the rainbow bubbling and gurgling around in these pots of pea soup. But you can't see the colors, so let's listen to the pots. Turn on the sound, operator. One last surprise, and then Old Faithful. As a matter of fact, they call this little bathtub Surprise Pool. Cool sand hitting its surface breaks the compression and releases steam, which is held in by an overhanging shelf. A nice thing about Yellowstone, you never have to complain there's not enough hot water. It's always Saturday night in this little puddle. Temperature, 200 degrees. And now, at last, the star of the picture, Old Faithful herself, the world's most famous geyser, and a guide's best friend in Yellowstone Park. Because every 63rd minute, right on the dot, Old Faithful does her act. And what an act! 750,000 gallons of boiling water, fired like a shot, thrown 150 feet in the air. When Old Faithful speaks, she says a mouthful. But first, we've got a minute before the performance begins, so let's go down 4,000 feet deep into the ground and see how she does it. Here's a cross-section of the earth as it probably is below the site of Old Faithful. Down here, between 4,000 and 5,000 feet below the surface of the ground, a smoldering volcano supplies the heat. In here, water seepage from the surrounding country fills the tube with its charge. You now have the equivalent of a huge cannon, all primed and loaded, ready to go off. The heat in the firing chamber, generating gas and steam, demands an outlet. The water, now completely filling the tube, adds to the pressure and raises the boiling point to well over 300 degrees. Only an explosion can relieve this terrific concentration of natural forces. A few warning rumbles, the gas and steam gather for escape, the pressure reaches the very maximum limits, and there she blows. Program has come to you through the courtesy of Mother Nature. She's signing off now.